The world is in chaos. It's almost like we need an Ammit to show up and kill a bunch of people. Oh no, I don't know if I should say that. But we do have. I actually want to talk about that later. But we do have a good episode of Moon Knight, a final episode. Uh, it could be the series finale. It could be the season finale. What do you think?
I I don't know, and I don't know what I want, to be honest. I don't know if I want movies or if I want another TV series.
I kind of feel like a series makes more sense. I had more fun with the series. I think Disney Plus has a good track record right now with the series. They really,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at all the series right now, if you look at all the ones they've done since they started, and then you look at all the ones they pulled from Netflix, you have
Yeah,
hours of entertainment. And I kind
right.
of feel like to build up on that would be fun to keep it going. I'm curious what they're going to do. There's rumors about Daredevil. There's rumors about Luke Cage. There's rumors about Iron Fist, and Moon Knight definitely has a history of being a part of some clandestine superhero groups. So
What has he ever been a member of the Avengers?
yes, he was a member of the West Coast Avengers or Avengers West Coast, depending. Don't
I
laugh.
didn't know. I
Don't
didn't know
laugh.
there was a West Coast Avengers.
Don't laugh. Do not laugh at the West Coast Avengers. The West Coast Avengers were a legitimate thing, and they were a legitimate team. Oh my goodness.
Was there also an East Coast Avengers at the same time?
The main Avengers comic was the East Coast Avengers, so they were
Yeah,
based
you
in
don't.
New York.
So it's stuff that's happened on the East Coast. You don't need to specify because that's just
East,
the
yeah.
main stuff anyway, right?
Most
When
Marvel
it's
comics,
West Coast, you got to say it's West Coast because that's not the most important place.
most Marvel comic heroes are based in New York. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, he's been a West Coast Avengers. He's been part of the Secret
I
Avengers.
still think it's funny to hear.
I don't.
That.
Everybody laughs at West Coast Avengers. They were a legitimate team. Okay.
What else? Like, has he been in anything else? Any of that Spider-Man stuff? What's it called?
He was kind of involved in like a subset of the Defenders and other teams, but Moon Knight's been a part of a lot of different teams, so he could do that. But I'm curious. But the story's not over, so we have a lot to talk about with this episode. So
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead and run down how the episode starts?
So it's episode 6, Gods and Monsters is the title of this episode.
Good title.
That's a good title. And we start off right where we left off. Mark Spector's been shot dead by Arthur Harrow. And so they start getting his body.
And then they pull out a little figurine of Ammit.
Yeah, pull out Ammit's figurine. Leave the pyramid to go reactivate Ammit, I guess. And then I don't know about you, but my I was on the edge of my seat thinking that Layla was going to get discovered during this first scene and the following scene.
But then we get a nice little surprise. We get the return of probably one of my favorite characters so far. I hope we get to see more. Towerette.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just not able to pronounce that the correct way.
Let's do the best we can. Yeah.
They say it. They say it in a really wonderful way in the show, and I just can't match that.
They have that great the roll of the tongue. But Towerette speaks to Layla through dead bodies, because Harrow kills a bunch of people, and then we get a plan because we need Layla to go to get kanchu and release him. So that's what she's doing on her end in the world of the living. And then we get Mark as the only one that's alive currently. He's in the field of reeds, and he decides to leave it all behind. He sacrifices, which is a great trope for a story. He sacrifices eternity of peace and beauty to get his broken, kind of, I guess, dead personality, one of his personalities back, and so he can be with them again, so they can, try to save the world.
Can we talk about the Field of Reeds real quick, though?
Sure.
So you're eternally at peace in the Field of Reeds?
Yes.
That looked like torture to me.
Well,
can you imagine being in the Field of Reeds for all of time?
Well, okay, so it's a mythology. I mean, if you're Egyptian, and you're dealing with like constant like droughts and sand, and you work all day, and you you don't have a real good life, the afterlife sounds pretty good if you can like be at a place that has plenty of food. It's like high.
It
It's
looks
like
like you're there by yourself, just like
it's probably other people. It's probably other people, and like you're just hanging out, and like you have the eternity of good weather.
I mean, there's
and prosperity.
lots of people that have transitioned to the Fields of Reason. I didn't see any of them, so
well,
like Layla's dad's there somewhere.
Well, yeah, well, that's a lot.
It seems like everybody gets their own personal, peaceful Field of Reeds, and that just doesn't seem like something I'd want to do.
I mean, I don't. I have my own ideas about the afterlife and what it is. I mean, I think I prefer the idea of reincarnation, but that's just me.
Reincarnation would be great.
Yeah, well, we don't get to choose. I don't think, even though we could. But if you look at Egyptian mythology, that sounds great. It's actually interesting if you looked at Black Panther. His afterlife was like a constant plane that you can just run for as long as you want. And then you have other mythology that talk about.
Like, get boring after a while.
You have other mythology that talks about like a long beach. And then I get like beautiful water. So okay, I get you.
Yeah.
But the whole point is that
so he leaves that, right, and he goes back into the Duat.
He makes a decision to sacrifice that, and that kind of shows you that he's kind of a hero because he leaves that all behind to go be with Stephen Grant, and
you had predicted that he would sacrifice everything.
Yeah, of course. It's a story. It's easy to see. But then they turn to sand, both of them, but they get unsanded and they get to go back to be alive. And I thought that was handled pretty well. Kanchu is freed by Layla. Layla refuses to become his avatar, which I predicted as well. And then Mark.
Real quick, I've got questions about that whole Mark and Steven scene. Okay, so you talked last time about why you think Mark's scale's balanced. And I'm sure you've had some time to think about it since then. Can you?
I have not thought about it at all.
You haven't thought about it. Can you explain that again?
Yes, I will.
I think actually what happened is what I thought rather than what you thought, but what I thought doesn't make sense. So
what I thought was
explain what you thought happened.
Here's what I thought.
Yeah.
If you look at the story and how it was laid out, Mark suffered a trauma. He believed that he killed his brother. He did not, of course. It wasn't his fault.
Right.
He was abused by his mother, and he created Stephen to help him cope. When Stephen fell off the boat and hit the sand,
right.
Mark, it was almost like Mark accepted that Stephen existed, accepted what happened to his life, and he became whole in that regard. And that's why the scales were balanced. Even Taweret said that his heart was full, which means like he's whole. But so if you think about it, there's two things going on. One, he comes to terms with this, and he like becomes whole, and he's dead, so he goes to the Field of Reed, so his life is pretty much done. But he lets two things go. He lets go of the beautiful afterlife, and he lets go of his mental health. He says, you know what, I would prefer to be broken than not be broken, and so again he does that. And then once he comes to terms with that, or at least the show writers want us to think, once he comes to terms with the idea that he wants to be broken, that's when that they kind of like saved him or whatever. But there's a couple of different plot holes with all that. But the main important thing is he was whole and he was in afterlife. He left both those things go so he could be back in the real world to be a hero.
I like your idea better, but I think what the show is showing me is my version. And I think my version doesn't make sense and there's plot holes involved with it.
There's a lot of plot holes. I mean, like, why would they turn to stone, sand, and then why did they become unsanded? That's making sense.
Well, so like my version was Stephen fell overboard, he turned into sand. So they both had, there were two hearts. Stephen's heart, they were both half full. Stephen's heart emptied, filled up Mark's heart as he went overboard and became sand. So then Mark's heart would balance.
Well, I mean, yeah.
In this episode, the reason that Steven and Mark come back from being sand is because Mark had his heart in his hand. Osiris is a softie, apparently, and he was touched by Mark's speech. And he seemingly, Osiris opens his gates, and now half of Mark's heart, which is glowing in between their hands as they're touching, it kind of transfers, and now half of Steven's heart is full and half of Mark's heart is full, is what the show is showing me, at least. But that leaves out the third identity.
Well, we haven't got there yet, and
which is why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, the third identity causes a significant amount of problems, which
right.
we'll have to.
Does that sound right to you? That's what the show is telling me.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how the whole balancing thing was working, and that's why they were both able to come back.
Well, here's the deal: like, as a viewer, you have to interpret what they're trying to show, and we could debate which one's more right, you and I. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to look at it, understand what's going on, and then like accept it. Like, and I kind of believe it, even though we're talking about a guy who's dead, who's going to come back from the dead. But and you're supposed to also have an emotional reaction, like an emotional connection. And I actually felt an emotional connection when I saw Steven and Mark like become like whole again, become together again. I was very excited. I was like, this is how it should be. And shout out to Oscar Isaac for creating two different characters that are likable, and enjoyable to watch. And I think that's something the show's got. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But there is a major plot hole, which is Jake. And his full name, I'm sorry, is Jake Lockley. Jake Lockley. So we'll have to talk about him in a little bit. But yeah, Jake Lockley is a big plot hole. And if you're doing a show like this, there's not much you can do. You just gotta kind of squint your eyes and hope that works. Like you can't, like, it's not, like, if they would have done anything to hint that Jake Lockley made it through with them or something like that, then the show will have been ruined. And we still have a bigger plot hole, which is the whole doctor scene where they're in the psychiatric wards with the supposedly Dr. Harrow. That's never explained, which we have to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. I still don't understand why they keep going back to that.
I don't know either, and we have to discuss that. So, I mean, it's not perfect what happened, and it's only 43 minutes long, and they kind of do a pretty good job jamming it in, but they could have used more time to help clear out some of that stuff.
While we're on that, okay, so I've said before, and I think I stand by it, Marvel and Disney has not been able to stick the landing on any of their TV shows so far.
Oh, come on, that's not true.
Which ones did they stick the landing on?
Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision for sure.
Didn't they both feel rushed towards the end?
I didn't feel that way at all. Not at all. I thought WandaVision was perfect. I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was pretty good. There was a couple of them that felt rushed. I thought Loki had a lot of problems at the end for sure.
Yeah.
Hawkeye felt kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that's it. What If doesn't really count because it's so episodic.
Yeah, but it kind of does count, especially with Doctor Strange coming out, which we'll have to discuss at some point. But it's fine.
What do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? Did they stick the landing on Moon Knight?
I think that if you look at IMDb, it gets a rating of a 7.6 out of 10. I think that's low. It should be at least an 8. It's not the best, but I'd watch season 2 right now.
So you think the ending was paced well?
Yeah.
They wrapped it up. Okay, all right.
I'll even tell you this: the fight scene was the best they've done. When
which fight scene? The fight scene between the two gods?
Well, let me explain. So Khonshu talks to Steven and Mark, and then Mark says, "How do we get to Cairo?" And then he kind of he puts his wings out and flies. Remember that?
Yeah. We get a Batman.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was super cool, and I loved how they bounced back and forth. I loved seeing Steven fight with the clubs and everything. And I loved going back and forth between Mark and Steven. I thought it was very well done. It was very exciting. I thought the fight was
fight scene. That fight scene. Right.
I thought all the fight scene, and then we haven't even got
Mr. Knight knows how to fight now.
Yeah, and we haven't even got to Layla yet, which is just
all the comic book readers got what they've been waiting for.
Yeah, and let's just talk about Layla. She is she becomes Tyrellet's avatar. She says temporary avatar, but that's not true. 100%.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think she's gonna. I think she likes.
Yeah, she has this cool suit. She gets these badass metal wings. She gets some super, and she's awesome. Like
a lot like Falcon.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. I loved every second of that. And Mike, do you know what her code name is?
No, what is it?
The Scarlet Scarab. It is from the comics. She looks completely different than the one from the comics, by the way. But the Scarlet Scarab was a Egyptian superhero that fought the Nazis.
Cool.
Yeah, super cool. And so now, so
what was the human name of the Scarlet Scarab in the comics?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, why ask me hard questions? Abdul Faal.
Okay, so I guess for people that are really into Moon Knight, we should have seen that coming, right?
No, absolutely not. Moon Knight has nothing to do with Scarlet Scarab, though.
Well, Layla's last name is Fauli, so they just added a Y. They just added a Y to that last name.
Dude, the Scarlet Scarab is so obscure that I didn't even know. Like, no one knows who the Scarlet Scarab is. No one is like walking around thinking, "Man, I want a Scarlet Scarab series," and then and get super hyped about it. No, that's not at all happened. And Marvel did this thing about 20 years ago. Oh my God, 20 years ago. Oh God, I'm so old. About 15 years ago, where they kind of created a whole bunch of superheroes there was a superhero team for every country in the world, and so they made a bunch of new ones, and so you could easily get confused about who's who. But I do like the fact that they have a dedicated Egyptian superhero now. And there's an interview with May Calamawy.
Calamawy.
That works. And when she talks about it, and I think it's great. I mean, if you're at home watching Moon Knight, you had about 2 or 3 episodes set strictly in Egypt. People were speaking Arabic, and it's like we saw some Egyptian culture.
I love that scene where the Egyptian girl says, "Hey, are you an Egyptian superhero?"
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was great.
So I'm stoked. I mean, I think the audience really like Layla. So you're definitely going to see her way more, way more. And that kind of reaffirms that this is going to be a season 2. Like, why not? Like, Layla was great. Layla was great. They had Oscar Isaac and her had good chemistry. I think anybody would have chemistry with Oscar Isaac, But I think we do need to talk about like the biggest.
I would like to see her in a movie, though. Now that I think about it,
do you need a movie? I mean, think about it, Mike. Do you really want?
I don't need she can be in the West Coast Avengers movie that's coming up.
I mean, do you need it though, or do you want it? Do you need it?
I don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah, you just want. Yeah,
I would kind of like to see her in a movie. Is all I'm saying.
I would like to see her interact with other people from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would love to see a scene where like her and Oscar, her and Mark or Steven are doing something, and then like Captain America shows up, Sam Wilson shows up. That'd be kind of fun, or something. I mean, at this point, they need to start thinking about interacting and mingling all these different characters together in a series. I mean, it's not getting stale, but at some point we're going to want to start to see mixing together and more people. Like, we don't know what Sam Wilson is doing. We don't know what Clint Barton is doing. We don't know what any of these people are doing. And so at some point we have to start getting hints of this.
I mean, I like the disconnectedness of this. I like that Moon Knight can stand on its own.
Yeah,
I really do like that.
But I
do
want
at the same time, in their next ensemble movie, whatever that is, wouldn't mind to see the Scarlet Scarab show up in there. That would be pretty cool.
They have so many new characters that we haven't seen mixed together. So yeah, we need to start seeing that. So the biggest thing about this episode was there was a scene where Harrow seemed to be like winning against Mark Spector, and Layla was getting beat up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Mark blacks out, and when he comes to, all the bad guys are dead. Harrow's beaten to a pulp, and Mark does not remember what happened.
Yeah, he's got Harrow's staff on his forehead, like the axe blade of Harrow's staff is on Harrow's forehead in Mark's hand. Basically the same thing happened in this episode that happened in, I think it was episode 3 with the gang from Cairo.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, not to get too far ahead, but we do know that Kanchu wants Mark to kill Harrow because they take Ammit and push her into Harrow. So he's like,
instead of trapping her in a statue that could be broken again and she can be released, they trap her inside of Harrow's body.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about how during that whole fight there was Khonshu and Ammit were giant-sized fighting, like slamming against the pyramid. We didn't really talk about how.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I liked Ammit. I liked the way she looked. I liked her voice. I liked that she was like kind of a crocodile. Mm-hmm. The fight scene was crazy. And I don't know if it was like something we all could see or is it just like the avatars could see. I don't know. But it was a lot going on with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, only the avatars can see those gods. Like,
yeah, I don't know that
people can't see them.
I don't. But wait.
No, remember
Layla saw Khonshu and she was an avatar.
When?
In the pyramid when she freed him.
Maybe he can appear to you. I don't know.
Don't try to fix the mistakes they made, Mike. Don't try to fix it.
Right.
But so yeah, it's like it was a pretty good big budget fight. I thought that was kind of nice to see, like these two big Egyptian gods fight. Imagine if you're in Egypt, in Cairo, and you're looking up and you see the Egyptian gods from lore fighting against the pyramids. Like, what do? Do you like, oh well, you walk off? Like, it's just like, it's kind of funny.
She grew pretty fast for the relatively small number of souls that she had sucked in.
We don't know the actual math. We don't know how many souls you're supposed to be able to consume to become a giant. I thought you'd need at least 2,000-3,000. But
right. And how did Khonshu get big?
He just got big. That's literally what happened.
I think he's always been that powerful because he's always had the souls that Mark has taken vengeance out on, and he just chooses to be, normal human size most of the time. That's my fixing that for them.
That's fair. But then we have an interesting situation. Mark refuses to kill Harrow. And it looks like him and Steven have like a little accord where they're going to try to live together. Then we get credits.
Well, yeah. So also, Khonshu has to release Mark and Steven.
He does. Or does he?
And he does release them.
Okay. But then we get the post-credit scene where Harrow. Wait. Well, before we get to the post-credit scene, let's talk about a real problem with the show.
Okay.
Last episode, I think it's been almost 2 episodes now. Like 1, 2, maybe 3. 3 episodes. For 3 episodes, we've had Mark as a mental patient. We've had Dr. Harrow behind a desk, and we had them talk. And these scenes have been interspersed throughout the episodes. And we've had Mark and Steven in the afterlife, and then we've had these doctor scenes again.
Right.
Here's my theory of what's going on with that, from a storytelling element to how they blended into the story. And then here's my theory about practical, like actual logistical, why it happened. I think from the story wise, all that stuff with Harrow being a psychiatrist and everything else was just Mark's head, like his brain kind of fuzzing out. So as he was dead, trying to like go through his life, he had this mental battle, and like at the end, kind of he won.
Right.
However, what really probably happened is that they filmed two different post life scenes or something like that. They filmed one where it's the afterlife, and they filmed another where he is in a mental hospital. And instead of like taking one out completely, the mental hospital one, they tried to fold it into the show. I thought that was a huge mistake. It's very confusing. It doesn't make any sense at all,
Mm.
and it's a drag 100%. I'm really if you took all those out, you would not miss anything. I'm curious what you thought about it.
I do think you could probably take them all out, and the end result would be better. Um, I mentioned before, I think, maybe they intended that to be just like a small scene when he first dies in the last episode. And I think that would have made sense and wouldn't have been as weird and wouldn't have been as much of a drag
Mm-hmm.
as you and I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they fell in love with Ethan Hawke playing that doctor character and just decided to do more. And I think they decided to do too much. That's my best guess for how that turned out. I can see you falling in love with shooting that and deciding to do more and leaving too much of it in. But I do think you probably could have taken it all out and it would have been even better. Maybe leave in just a little bit as soon as he dies, just to kind of transition.
We'll never really know, but it was just a car.
Because you do have to have at least one of those scenes just to set the fact that when they're walking around in this insane asylum, it's because that's what Mark is kind of comfortable with.
Yeah. So after all that, we have post-credit scene. We get Harrow is in a mental institution.
He's not. No, he's not. He's in a normal hospital.
Okay, he's in a normal hospital.
But he's apparently like drugged up at the time.
Yeah. Somebody walks in and speaks Egyptian and takes him out.
I don't think they speak Egyptian.
What is it?
So this is a question that I have for you. Remember at the end of the last episode when Mark found himself in the field of reeds?
Yeah.
I was like, here's something that doesn't make sense to me. Why is the song a Spanish or a Mexican song? They're singing in Spanish. And everything that this person said in the post-credit scene was in Spanish.
No, I didn't know that. Oh.
So yeah, he speaks to the nurse in Spanish. And then later on he speaks in Spanish as well. Never says anything in English. And we're dancing around the bush here, but this is Jake Lockley, right?
It is Jake Lockley.
Does he speak Spanish in the comics? Is he Spanish?
No, absolutely no. He's Irish.
So. Yeah, I mean Jake Lockley doesn't sound like a Spanish name or anything, so I'm wondering what's going on here because he doesn't speak any English.
Well, that's fine.
And it ties in with the Spanish language song at the end of the last episode.
Well, they're switching things up because like Stephen Grant wasn't like a dork working at the British Museum. He was a rich philanthropist, and Mark Spector was a mercenary. So it makes sense that Jake Lockley would be something different than we would think. And I'm fine with that because it's going to spice things up, make it more interesting. And I like the fact that we mentioned that Kanchu released Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. That's true, he did, but he still has Jake Lockley. And so the Moon Knight still exists using that body, and it's Jake Lockley. And Jake Lockley is dangerous because he's like vicious. Like the scenes where Jake Lockley took over the body were like he did an enormous amount of violence.
Is this the Jake Lockley from the comics, or is it a composite of Jake Lockley plus that very violent identity from some other run of the comics?
I don't know Jake Lockley enough from the comics to speak on that. I will say that that Mark Spector has always had like a third personality. Is always super dangerous, and it's I would say in this case, this interpretation of Moon Knight, Jake Lockley kind of represents that. He is kind of like a conflated character, which is fine. But it sets up a cool dynamic for next season, and of course there will be. You gonna have Mark and Steven trying to stop one of their personalities from doing bad stuff as Moon Knight. So I mean, it's going to be and again at the very beginning of our podcast, at the very beginning when we talked about Moon Knight, I said that Kanchu in the comics was always kind of someone that we didn't trust, someone that Moon Knight betrays Moon Knight and stuff like that. And so Kanchu's a very very particular character. I like how they're playing him. He's like he has his own motivations, and we think okay he does quote unquote good, but at what cost, you know? And so it's really interesting. Next season is going to be more about this antagonistic view of Khonshu. That's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to see how Mark and Steven deal with one of their personalities still being Moon Knight, still doing stuff. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, if we liked watching like two characters, then imagine seeing Oscar Isaac do three characters. It's going to be great.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be interesting because they're going to have to get back into the fold, right? It's not going to be another series with just Jake Lockley as the only
of course
person that suits up as a superhero.
Yeah, it's not interesting. I think Jake Lockley's kind of scary. You know, I don't particularly want to watch a Moon Knight character like viciously kill people to the point like beyond what that should be doing. You know, and it kind of addresses what they talked about earlier in episodes. Like they said that Khonshu was manipulating Mark because of his faction mind, and Khonshu definitely has. Like Khonshu knew that Mark Spector had three different fragments of his personality, that he knew he was disassociative, and he was using that against them. So again, it's good storytelling. It's a great place to. It's a great this Moon Knight character in the last episode became a character I would want to see moving forward. I would like to see another Moon Knight series. I like what they did. I think that Moon Knight is very distinctive and very interesting. I'm digging it. And I didn't when we were talking about sticking the landing, for me it saved the series and made me like the character far more at the end. The whole thing, everything with Layla and you know the three different personalities, all of it, everything worked together at the end to save it for me. And it's good. It's doing good stuff.
Is there a third suit that we should be looking forward to in the next series or whatever comes next?
Moon Knight has a couple different suits, just so they look different, but there's no set suit that would be like be as distinctive as the Mr. Knight suit. So that's a really good point. I'm curious to see what they'll do. Maybe they'll give Jake Lockley a more modern suit. We'll just wait and see.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be great. So how do you feel about this whole series itself? Do you feel like it was great? It was fine? Was it better than Hawkeye? Was it better than WandaVision? What's going on? How do you feel?
I think I probably have to get a little bit further from it. And that's good because you and I are going to be doing a ranking of all of the all of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus soon. And so I'll have time to think about it by then. But I really wanted to like Moon Knight a lot because I like anything having to do with the moon for some reason. I love things that have to do with Egyptian mythology. But I don't know. I think Loki's definitely better than this.
Yeah, 100%.
Hawkeye?
I don't know.
I don't know. I've got to think about it more.
Hawkeye's budget.
I'm not in love with the Moon Knight series that we got.
Hawkeye's budget was bigger than Moon Knight for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can just tell. It looks better.
Right.
I think that Moon Knight's budget was.
Do you think they fixed the problem with the Moon Knight costume a little bit for you in this last episode, or?
I think I became used to it. I was like, that's fine. Like, that was fine. I was like, the show had enough going on that made me like it. Like, you know, like at the end, I think me liking Mark Spector and Stephen Grant made me like the costume just enough. It was fine. Hopefully they'll do better next season, but it was okay.
Yeah, I definitely like the characters. I like Layla. I like Mark. I like Steven. I like Tauret. I like Kanchu. But I don't know. Just something is feeling a little bit off for me as I come out of this. And so we'll have to see where it ranks for me when we come to that.
All right. Okay.
What about you?
As far as what? How much I liked it? Yeah, let's rank it. Next when they do the rank episodes. But yeah. I mean, I would watch this season again. I would I do not think I can say that about Hawkeye.
Really?
Or even Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know. We'll have to
I think there's probably, I have a feeling there's stuff that you'll catch on a rewatch of this. And I remember really liking some of the cinematography earlier in the episode, but it feels like we got away from that in the latter half.
I don't know. I will say this before we wrap up. It's all Oscar Isaac. Without him, this will have fell completely apart. So again, he did a great job, fantastic job with this, and that's the only way Moon Knight can move forward. And again, Disney Plus, hits another home run for me, and they've been doing pretty consistent. We'll have to wait and see how. What's the next one going? The next one's She-Hulk. Man.
No, I think we've got something coming even sooner than that.
For a series?
I believe so.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah. That's like
I think She-Hulk.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I have to check. But yeah, so I will tell you right now that Miss Marvel is not going to be as good as Moon Knight.
Yeah?
Nah, it's just not going to be as good.
Why not?
I don't know. I just don't think I'm going to enjoy this.
I mean, they're doing it more, right? So it could be.
Yeah, they could.
They're exercising their muscles. They're getting better. Yeah, Miss Marvel. When is it coming out?
Oh. I thought She-Hulk was coming next.
June 8th.
Really? June 8th? That's next month. 8th.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got Moon Knight just finished. We've got Doctor Strange. Then Disney's also doing some Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff. And then we've got Miss Marvel. So if you're into Star Wars and into Marvel, you got a long list of things to watch in the next couple of months.
Yeah, we'll see how that Obi-Wan stuff goes. I don't know how I feel about it.
Why is that? Just because it's like part of the prequel trilogy?
I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I'm just a grumpy old man.
Are you into Star Wars?
I like to watch the original 3 movies all the time. And I'll watch like the newer ones when I feel like it. But of all the different properties that Disney owns, I feel like Star Wars is the one they need to get right the fastest. I feel like it's all over the place. Like they don't know, they really don't know what they want to do. And if I see one more episode or movie with them in the desert, I'm just whatever. Like I'm just over a Star Wars desert. Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, it's a desert. There's even other planets that are like Tatooine that's not Tatooine.
You need some more Ewoks, man. Get the Ewoks back in there.
No, I don't want that. I want a Star Wars.
I love the Ewoks. I mean, I was the perfect age for the Ewoks when it came out.
I want a Star Wars show that's not a Star Wars show. In fact,
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars show. In fact, I want something besides Star Wars. Give me more of The Expanse. Give me more of that.
That's another show entirely, right?
Yes, it is completely.
Okay.
Right. Mike, are you ready for some news you can abuse?
You know it.
We don't have any this week.
Oh.
And here's why.
What?
There are so many Doctor Strange spoilers out there.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
Listeners, if you're listening to us,
I want to talk about one, but I'm not going to do it.
No, you can't. You can't talk about any of them. Don't talk about any of them. I watch.
We will spoil.
Oh yeah,
Doctor Strange when our next podcast episode comes out.
Yes,
but we will not do that before then.
I actually feel mad. This is the one time where I spoiled something for myself.
Yeah, you said you're spoiler proof.
Yeah, but I'm not. I felt really bad about this one. I was like, I kind of wish I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I was like, ah. But no.
I heard that apparently, like, some people have seen, like, I guess, Disney or Marvel provided some people, like journalists or whatnot, with the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently somebody took it upon themselves to write up a summary of the first 20 minutes of the movie, and that's out there floating around. I mean, come on, man. What are y'all doing?
No, social and cultural norms are gone right now. People don't know how to act. And so I'm trying to tell people right now, if you listen to this, do not Google start. You know what? You can do a couple of different things to stop this from happening. If you're on Twitter, you can actually mute the words Doctor Strange so you don't see it. Well,
here's the thing though. You've got to do that. You got to mute hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
If you see somebody's name in trending that is an actor or actress that could ever conceivably be cast in a Marvel type movie, don't click on their name.
And to be honest with you, like the whole hashtag thing on the side is also giving a bunch of information you don't need to see. So my advice for people is to go see Doctor Strange as soon as you can. Stay away from spoilers. Just get a big old thing of popcorn and enjoy the movie. Just understand.
Yeah, I'm hearing like YouTube is dangerous. You can't even go on YouTube right now because people are putting spoilers right in the thumbnail for their videos.
No, and like it's bad for a number of different reasons. So again, give yourself some time to enjoy a movie. Try to act like you're a little kid again, and it'll be fine. Like, and I think a lot of spoilers have to do with people just being really excited. I think that the new Doctor Strange is going to be a good movie for the Marvel universe in general. It's going to start moving us to the place we need to go as far as like a story, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I've also heard tangentially that Benedict Cumberbatch is not opposed to doing more Doctor Strange. So we all know what it's like when one of the actors quits, but I think that he's going to stick around for a while. So super stoked to get to see it tomorrow at 7 o'clock. What time's my movie? 7 o'clock? No, what time? What time is it? 7 o'clock. I'm going to ride my bike to the movie theater.
Oh, you are? Nice. That's awesome.
Yes, it's across town. It's a good.
Well, I look forward to talking to you about it.
Thanks, man.
Week.
Thanks.
It's going to be awesome.
We're going to
do podcast.
Next podcast, a special Monday podcast. We're going to do it on Monday, and hopefully we'll try to figure out some ways to make it special and surprising.
Right. And in the meantime, subscribe, follow, and share.
Yes.
Let everybody know about the podcast.
Yes.
Talk about it with your friends.
Especially if you enjoyed Moon Knight and you know some other people that enjoyed it, send this podcast to them, share it with them so they can hear more about this kind of stuff. So
it's a good way to spark up some conversation with them.
Yeah, geek out about it. Very good. Yes. Right. And if you got any questions, we haven't done this in a while, but if you're listening, if you have any questions about the podcast or questions about the characters or questions about it, send us. Mike and I on Twitter for now until it becomes something that's not attainable. So send us a tweet. You can also send us a tweet at Superside Show. And also we have a Reddit page. Check the show notes for all the different ways you can connect to us.
Yes. And we'll see you next time for Doctor Strange.
Take care, guys. Enjoy the movie. No spoilers.